Make room for mom. Come on, babies. Yeah. So today I'm going to talk about coaching, why I coach, how coaching helps, different types of coaching. The key thing with coaching is the idea is that the coach is there to give you support, but you do the work. And there's a lot of different ways they can do that. Sometimes it's just saying things out loud makes a difference. Sometimes you actually know the answers, but if you don't have somebody to bounce ideas off of or to say it out loud, it just doesn't become clear. So I kind of like the idea that a coach is like having a paid best friend. And by that, what I'm saying is that in exchange for money, they act as a friend, and they benefit to that, because it kind of sounds gross, but it's not meant to be gross, is that when your friend helps you, you tend to feel like you have to reciprocate. We have this give and take. And so with coaching, the give and take is an exchange of money, so that you don't have an obligation. If your friend gives you a present or the friend helps you do something, you tend to want to help your friend do things. And with coaching, it's all one way. As a coach, I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. You're not there to support me. And so you get a benefit. And that's that. And without the exchange of money, you tend to feel uncomfortable, because when you get something for free, it doesn't hold value. And it also just is, some people can view it as taking advantage. So the idea with the coach is there's a lot of different ways that they can help. As I said, one is just being a sounding board, just being able to have someone to talk to say your ideas out loud. And generally speaking, what a coach will do is kind of, I guess, like what a therapist will do, is almost repeat back to you what you say. But sometimes that's to get clarity, because words have lots of meaning. So when I'm listening to somebody tell me their goals, or tell me what they want, I can also ask questions so that they can clarify. So it's not me just like repeating it back. It's often saying, well, I understand you mean this, but could it mean that? Or I'm not sure what that means to you. For example, I was in an exercise the other day where people were writing core values. And the person was explaining that, like, if you write down money is not like a core value. And this was what you need to survive, And money in and of itself isn't what you need to survive. You want money for things. It's just like money itself doesn't bring happiness. It's the things you buy with money that brings you happiness. So often if someone says, I want to earn, $100,000 a year, money isn't a motivator. So then you have to say, well, what are you going to do with the money? What does making $100,000 a year look like? And then you get them to describe the picture of what it looks like. And then you can ask more in-depth questions, and you can pull out more information. Well, why is this important? What does that mean? Why do you want to do that? How does that make you feel? All those things. And you start to get clarity. And then by getting clarity, that helps with motivation, and it helps with coming up with a plan. So then we can, because a lot of times, well, all the time, everything we do in life, you have to look at the short term and the long term. You can't look at just one. So you got to focus out and focus in, and focus out and focus in. It's kind of the Buddhist thing of that you live every day like it's your last, but you also live every day as if you're going to live to be 100 and beyond. And so you got these two opposing things, and you kind of gotta go, because you can't hold two opposing ideas in your mind at the same time. You have to go back and forth between the ideas. So you kind of got to, focus in and focus out and focus in. And in reality, that's kind of what, everything in life can kind of be shown to be that way. You have a trip, you're going to go on this trip to Hawaii. So that's the big thing. And then you got to focus in on, well, what do I need to do now to get ready? So having someone to talk to help you clarify is part of what a coach does. Another part is, depending on the specialty of the coach, there's often questions that a coach can ask that you may not think to ask, or provide clarity from experience. So one of my focuses is with people that have problems gaining weight, is one of them. But I also work with people that have had weight loss surgery. I've had weight loss surgery, and I've also had problems gaining weight. I really understand a lot of the stuff there. And I can ask questions that they may not have ever thought of. I can give suggestions about things they may never have thought of, because I've been through it. And having been through it, I have experience. So there's that you can get, quote unquote, an expert in the field to help you better understand what you're trying to do. There's also helping to uncover why you're blocked. There's a thing called the double bind. The double bind is that you basically, the angel and the devil on the shoulder, go ahead, do it. No, you shouldn't. Go ahead and do it. And, as Dr. Phil says, we do everything for a reason. There's always a payoff, no matter what it is. No matter how negative it may seem, there's a payoff. And sometimes uncovering that payoff it's not simple. As, obviously, if these things were simple, everyone would be happy and everyone would be healthy and blah, blah, blah. But it does, obviously, we don't. One of the kind of the sad things in life, and you just kind of got to accept it, is many things that give you short-term pleasure give you long-term pain. And many things that give you long-term pleasure give you short-term pain. And I'll give 2 examples. The short-term pleasure is when you eat something that's not good for you. That gives you short-term, ooh, this is good. But long-term, if you keep doing that, you're gonna gain weight and you're gonna be unhealthy. It's the same thing with procrastinating. There's the short-term pleasure of not doing what you're supposed to be doing brings the long-term pain of not getting whatever needed to be done. And then the reverse, the short-term discomfort gives you long-term pleasure. That would be like exercising. A lot of times exercising is not fun, but it's good for your body. And in the long term, you'll probably feel better for it. Quitting smoking, short-term, if you've been a really heavy smoker, it really sucks because your body actually reacts very poorly when you quit smoking, because when you smoke, you paralyze the cilia in your lungs. So when you stop smoking, the cilia aren't paralyzed anymore. And because they've been paralyzed, there's a lot of crap in your lungs. So when you stop smoking, you're going to start coughing up ick. And that's, and not feeling well. And then, of course, on top of that, the addiction and everything else. But long term, you're going to be healthier. So to overcome these challenges, you have to have your why. Why is it important? Why power will last, willpower will give out. Now, there is some conflicting information about willpower. Most of the studies were saying that willpower is kind of like a chemical in your head, and that as the day goes by, you actually like wear out the chemical, kind of like working your muscles. It just gets tired and your willpower decreases. There was another study that says it's not true. So, but if it's just willpower, eventually you're going to quote unquote break. And then usually you feel like crap because you were fighting so hard to do it. And, you know, there you are. But if you have why power, why you're doing something, here's an example. Let's say you're going to a friend's house for a party and you've never been there before and you're driving around and you get lost. You don't just continue driving in the wrong direction because you're lost. You figure out where you need to go, you get back on the path, and you continue to drive to the party because you want to go to the party. But what happens when someone, say they're trying to eat healthy and they eat a donut? They go, oh, heck with it. I've blown it. I may as well just eat whatever. It doesn't matter. Well, see, that's because they were using willpower versus why power. If they have the why power, they may eat the donut. Okay, we're all human, and actually a donut doesn't hurt anything. But if they go, wow, I had that donut, but I'm really still, I'm on this path so that I'm going to be healthy and able to run around with my children and my grandchildren. I want to be here for my grandchildren, and I want to be healthy enough that I can actually pick up and play with my grandchildren, pick them up, play with them and everything. And one donut won't stop me. But if I eat all this other stuff, that's putting me further down the wrong path. That's like if you're lost, you just say, heck, I'll just keep going the wrong way. Who cares where I end up? That just, the same thing with the exercise. If it's just willpower of, oh, I got to go and I got to do this, and you miss a day and you don't have why power, like why are you exercising? Like my biggest motivator for exercising is actually my osteoporosis, that I need to keep moving and I need to keep working on my bones, or my bones are going to get brittle, and I'll probably end up with a broken hip or a broken back at some point, and I don't want that. So that's a big, big motivator for me. So even if I miss a day because I'm not feeling well, as soon as I feel better, I'm right back out there exercising, because my why is to build my bones. I can miss a day or two and it's not going to hurt my bones. But if I stop exercising, my bones are going to get weaker. And that motivates me every day, because that's my why. That's a really important why. I want to be active. I want to go horseback riding. I want to go hiking. I want to go camping. I want to go scuba diving. I want to go on vacations. I want to do things. And I can't do that if I'm this old, frail lady. So in order to prevent that, I got to get out there and I got to do it regularly. I can miss a few days. I'm human. If I'm not feeling well, I got to listen to my body, but it's back out again. So the why. So coach can help you figure out your why, because a lot of times it's just not clear unless someone's there asking you questions to get you to clarify it, to get you to say it out loud, and to get you thinking about it. Because a lot of times we just don't. Another thing a coach is good for is accountability. How many people have read a self-help book and go, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then they don't? Well, there's just something about talking to a real live person and telling them, yes, I'm going to do this thing on this day, and then asking, and then when they ask you, did you do it, or having confirmation, it just gives you that little extra nudge to actually move forward. It's human nature. A lot of different groups have accountability buddies. But as a coach can also work as an accountability partner. And if for some reason you weren't able to do it, try to figure out why. Was it the wrong plan? Is that not going to work for you? Do we need to try something different? Was it too big? Why didn't it happen? And then either say, okay, it seems good, let's try this again, or say, that's just not a fit. It's not going to work. Because it's kind of like when people decide to make changes in their lives, sometimes they bite off these big chunks of changes. There's this one lady I knew that when she decided to make a change, she would change like all these different aspects of her life. And then like a month later, they all just, because she bit off so much. She was trying to like change everything. So it's usually better to, like with Atomic Habits, to take one little thing and change it. And it's okay if the first way you decide to do something doesn't work. We can try something else. That's the other thing with coaching is we're not saying we're going to, like figure everything out all at once. No, because I can't say what's going to help you. I know what motivates me, but I don't know what motivates you. And you might think something motivates you and actually be wrong because you just thought, and so we have to talk about it. We have to figure out what's going on. You can say, oh, well, I'm not going to drink coffee in the morning. And then you find out that, well, no, I really need my coffee. Well, then what's another thing that maybe we can do to get you towards whatever goals you want? Sometimes people just, will stop coffee because of the calories. So it's like, can we cut the calories of the coffee? Are there things we can do to move you in the right direction? Because any changes you make, whether it be healthier eating or exercising or positive behavior, they have to come from inside you. And so it has to be sustainable. If it's something that you're just forcing with willpower, whenever the first bump in the road happens, you're going to stop and you're just not going to pick it up again. And so, even with, dietary changes, they need to be sustainable. You need to still feel fulfilled and happy and work it into your life, not as a thing you have to do, but as a way you live. And labels matter. We like to say labels don't matter, but labels do matter. Here's an example. I don't remember which book I got this from. Is if you say, I'm quitting smoking, is totally different than saying, I'm a non-smoker. But how many people, when they're quitting smoking, call themselves non-smokers? So if you're not calling yourself a non-smoker, are you really going to quit? So sometimes we have to change the language we use. And that's another thing a coach can do. A coach can point out negative language you're using or negative views you're using, or flip things around. Sometimes people are victims. They want to be a victim, and then everything is happening to them. Whereas non-victims, everything is happening for them. And a coach can help flip the script, flip the way you're looking at things. And so, like the quit smoking example, is if I could help somebody, instead of saying they're quitting smoking, get them to say, I'm a non-smoker. And another example is when people catastrophize things that happen. They use the words, oh, I went to work and it was such a terrible day and everything that happened was absolutely horrible and nothing went right. And it's kind of like, really? Nothing went right? The whole day was a loss? You know, the whole time you was work, not a single positive thing happened? I mean, let's be honest, that's probably not true. I mean, it's possible, but we tend to classify things that way. And that puts us in a negative mind space. The same thing with negative self-talk of, you know, I'm not good enough. Oh, I failed. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, you know, I'm stupid. I should have known better. You know, beating yourself up doesn't help. It really doesn't. You got to, again, flip the script into, you know, I should try this strategy next time. Maybe I could pay better attention to this, or, you know, come up with ideas on addressing actions you can take versus describing yourself in a negative way, because that's not going to fix anything. The other thing a coach is good for is, again, it's kind of ties to that, is the reality check. You know, things are usually not, you know, people have sometimes too high an expectation or too low an expectation. And the coach can kind of look at what they're saying and ask the questions to make sure that we're in the reality range. Again, just having somebody there. Another thing a coach can do is kind of like the brainstorming, you know, help you come up with ideas outside the box, ideas that you wouldn't come up with on your own. There's still things that you want to do, because a coach won't ask you to do anything you don't want to do, because our job is just to help you be a better you, not to tell you what to do. It's to help you do what you want to do, or to help you become a better person, or to help you have better habits, we're there to help you. It's another example that was used is kind of like the Sherpas, you know, that take people up Mount Everest, because they know where everything is at, and they know the trails, and they know where things are based on the weather and when it's safe to go and when it's not. The Sherpa guides people up Mount Everest, but they don't take you. I mean, they don't like that. You have to do the hiking yourself, you know, the mountain climbing yourself. They're just there to guide and support you. And again, that's where the coach comes in. Now, I think I've kind of always been like a coach, or even before they really called things coaches. When I was young, like I'm talking even like when I babysat, and even before probably, that I always wanted to help people. I'm a helper, kind of like Mr. Rogers, always look for the helpers. I'm a helper. I want to help people. And I, you know, back then, a lot of times I did it with teaching or education or other things. And now, of course, I do it through coaching. And it's something that's just kind of natural for me. It's something I just love doing. And I, you know, it's just part of my nature. I mean, I remember back to basic training. I was 18 in the Air Force, and basic training has a whole bunch of really stupid rules. They they make you like fold your underwear a certain way, or like you had to hang your clothes in the locker in the state that they'd be worn, which meant they needed to be buttoned and zippered and buttoned. But like then the pants had to be hanging over the hanger with the zipper facing forward on the left hand side. So you kind of had like all these, you had, basically that meant there were 3 ways that were wrong and 1 way that was right when you flop your pants over a hanger. And if you weren't paying attention to the way it had to be, you know, that could be a write-up. And I was so good at the details and stuff that, like, after a while, everyone would say, come look at my locker and make sure everything's okay. I mean, no, there was stupid stuff like your soap couldn't be wet or have any bubbles or anything on it. It had to be clean. And the soap dish had to be clean and dry with no soap sticky stuff in it. And it had to be in there and it had to be grounded in the right way and all that. But I loved helping people. And I even told people while I was in basic training that I was having fun. And it felt like camp for adults, just a bunch of silly rules, because all games are silly rules. So sometimes if you look at things with just a fun idea about how to view life, things are less stressful. And of course, the coach can help you realize the only person that you can control is yourself. You can't change somebody. You don't have control over anybody. All you can do is control yourself. And then the one thing that I really learned when my hubby had his brain cancer and I was his caregiver is, you know, all you can do is all you can do. And that has to be enough. So that's kind of back to self-compassion. You know, and again, a coach can help you bring that out in yourself, help point it out, help get you down the path to get there. Because a lot of times I guess it comes from school. You know, when you're in school and you're a child, everything is either right or wrong, you know, and in reality, that's not true. So many things are on a gray scale. And a lot of the self-improvement stuff doesn't come from a right or wrong. It comes from what works for you. I've been taking I took a course on using neuroscience for trauma coaching. And a lot of people just want to know like how to do something. And a lot of times it doesn't have to be done a specific way. Like mindfulness. Mindfulness is a very personal thing. You know, meditation, relaxation. You know, people say, oh, I can't meditate. Well, meditating doesn't have to be, you know, like a monk meditating saying Om. It can be, there's even a thing called like problem solving meditating, like where you bring into your mind an image of what it is you're trying to figure out. And you're just focused on the problem you're trying to solve. Even that can be meditating. There's sitting in silence, just feeling your body. And, you know, starting with like relaxing your toes, you know, wiggling your toes, and then moving up to your ankles and your knees, and just moving up your body and through your shoulders and out to your hands, and just feeling your body. That's a type of just meditating or mindfulness. There's just listening to the environment for all the sounds that are around you. And you can do that, you know, kind of anywhere. Listening, just listening and letting things flow. There's looking at something, you know, just taking an object and, you know, just looking at stuff, looking at the details of stuff, and just focusing in on the details. These are all types of mindfulness. and meditation. They don't, so it doesn't have to be like a specific thing. It's the same with, you can breathe in love, and you can also breathe out love. You can breathe in love and breathe out pain. They're both okay. They're just different things. When you're breathing out pain, you're releasing your pain. When you breathe out love, you're sharing love with the world. They're both just as valid. And it's whatever makes you feel, whatever resonates with you. And again, these are the types of things a coach can help with. Sometimes it's just bringing an awareness. And then of course there's business coaches that are going to help you do business better. But a lot of times, even with business coaching, it still comes back to, motivation, self-talk, planning, preventing procrastination, having accountability, and all that type of stuff. So, again, a coach is there to just help you be a better you. And one of the amazing things is you'll find that most millionaires have coaches, and people that are coaches have coaches. And it just seems to be that, even Bill Gates says that everybody should have a coach. It's actually, that important. Or he didn't say that it's actually that important. He just said everybody should have a coach. That, and I don't know why more people don't have coaches. I guess in some ways it does say woo-woo, especially when you say, I'm a life coach. It's kind of like, well, I've been alive for 50 years. 50, 60 years? What do I need for someone to tell me how to live? I already know how to do that. And so I don't see that I've had any comments or questions. So I'm going to play with my dogs. Now, I play with my dogs, well, obviously because I love my dogs, but my doggies bring me great joy. They do. They bring me great joy. Uh-huh. Yes. So things I like to focus on is I want to help people celebrate life every day and strive to be 100 and beyond. And to do those things, it affects, obviously all aspects of life. If you don't have a job that you're happy in, if you're not taking care of yourself, you need to worry about worry is the wrong word. You need to take care of what you eat. You need to take care of your exercise. You need to take care of your sleeping. You need to take care of your stress levels and your mindfulness and keeping your mind active. You need to have social engagement. You need to have spiritual engagement. And of course, you have to have money of some amount to be able to do those things. And sometimes people forget some of the elements. Like, I'm not a big fan of just working till you drop. Some people do that. I can see where, maybe for a really short period of time. But your body, you've only got one body. And if you don't take care of it, they say your most important thing is your health. Well, I've had a lot of health challenges, and your health, not taking care of it or having poor health, really can suck. even now, I still, have challenges. Yes, I do. I do. But I do, back to all you can do is all you can do, and that has to be enough. That you do what you can. And so you have to acknowledge your limitations, but it's such a balance. I guess that's the thing, is there's not like just a straight do it this way. It's people have that same problem with becoming an entrepreneur. They think, well, how do you do it? Well, there's not like a way to be an entrepreneur. There's ideas, there's things you can try, but it's very personable to what you want to do. Um, how do you get customers or clients? How do you want to get them? Obviously, if you have more money, you have more options. But ultimately, the key is having something that people want. My main thing is, again, focusing on the coaching and helping people. The other thing is, of course, is I'm fairly techie, so I can also help on that side of things. Um, I worked in electronics in the Air Force. I worked on everything from tube technology to laser technology at the same time. And then me and my hubby, we had a computer business. We were kind of computer consultants. Now, the difference between a consultant and a coach, although I did do some coaching even then and didn't know it, is consultants do the work. They give suggestions and then you hire them. I mean, they come in, they look at things, and then they do the work. That's a consultant. Or they hire another person to do the work. But the idea with a consultant is they're also doing the work. They may explain things, but then they get the work done. But the reason I say I was even coaching and teaching back then is because one of the things we offered is, this is back in the Windows 3.1 and pre-Windows era. And when you installed anything on your computer, you had to separately install the drivers and the mouse and the sound card, like in each piece of software. It didn't just all just automatically go in. And so one of the things I did was teach people, mostly business people, how to use their own computer in their own homes, because to do classes just in general normally wouldn't apply to what they were doing on their computer. I mean, even getting online, it was dial up. And so you'd have to like open a WinSock thing that would do part of it. And then you'd have to run the program. It's like everything took multiple steps to work. So it was very different on every computer. And so I wanted to help people do things on their computer that they needed to do. And I still, even later on, continue to do that by like watching how somebody uses the computer and then suggesting other ways or shortcuts to do the same thing. And that's actually, really comes in line with coaching. Yeah, I remember that I was taking a Photoshop class in community college in the late 90s. And I'd never used Photoshop before, but it was pretty straightforward. And so I was helping everybody in the class. I would go and help people go through, and when they had challenge, I can't do this, or where's that, or how do I this? And I was going around and helping everybody in the class to do the projects. And the instructor, he said he tried to get me paid as an assistant because I was doing all this assisting. But, he couldn't. But that didn't stop me from still helping people do their stuff. Again, that's just part of who I am. So my reason for doing these videos, hopefully daily, is by verbalizing, I'm going to have a better idea of what direction to take my YouTube channel in. I'm hoping to get feedback from people and down the road get my channel up and running. It's been pretty lax since my hubby passed away, but I certainly enjoyed doing it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Again, coaching is there. People coach to help you become a better you. So coaches just, again, they provide clarity, encouragement, accountability, brainstorming, support, and just a listening ear. So if you're interested in learning more about me or would like a free coaching session, go ahead and just email me or write in the comments and I'll reach out to you. And I'd love to hear from you. So you all have a great day.